Hello and welcome to Laytechs Weekly, 28 October 2020. Laytechs Weekly is brought to you by Laytechs Weekly is brought to you by Laytechs, your protection from tech ignorance. My name is Sean, and I am recording this video today in Johor Bahru, quite far away from my office or home in KL. I'm on a bit of a work trip, and I think this is the first time I'm doing this outside of home and office, so it's a bit of a cobbled up together space, and if the sound is not as ideal, perhaps we can do better in the next ones. But this sets me up to be able to give you more episodes while I'm on the road. Alright, let's get down to the news of the week. Jony Ive works with Airbnb. Renowned designer Jony Ive from Apple, if you don't know, has been contracted into a multi-year relationship with Airbnb, in which his firm will help design the next generation of Airbnb products and services. It doesn't say exactly what, but products and services. There isn't very much to go by at this point, but the guy has been known for making bronze shaver inspired mobile devices and Apple hardware, and of course the iconic Apple spaceship campus. Perhaps the luxe range of Airbnb real estates will feature minimalistic design cues from Ive's company. I guess if Airbnb decides they should have a design direction for their high-end properties, then it helps boost the price a little bit. I don't know, perhaps. Maybe they could even start by designing the Airbnb logo as well. Give it a bit more flair. Huawei announces Mate 40 range. We know it'll be faster, and we know they will have good cameras, bloated with ugly filters we cannot fully turn off. I mean, yeah, I'm not exactly a big fan of Huawei cameras, even though their hardware is very good. Their software kind of not very good. In any case, design-wise, it's still not quite on par with Apple and Samsung yet. Perhaps it's not trying to compete with the two companies. Perhaps in its own market, it is already the most beautiful device ever. I don't know. It just because it doesn't tickle my fancy doesn't mean that it's not done right? I mean, what do I know? The Mate 40 will come in three variants: the Mate 40 Proper, Mate 40 Pro, and the Pro Plus. The lower tiers will spot 4 cameras, while the Plus version will have an additional LiDAR sensor, so it's 4 plus 1 LiDAR. I don't think it's 1 plus 1, it's just a different sensor. The coolest thing about this device is that on top of their full day battery at 4,400 milliamps, they now also come with a 66 watt cable charging and 50 watt wireless charging capabilities. That's very fast, because my laptop is charging at 65 watt and it goes from 0 to full in 45 minutes. And this guy has got a huge battery. Phones have a smaller battery, and 10 minutes, I'm guessing. That's pretty cool. The greatest struggle, however, for Huawei outside of China is the lack of Google services. Adoption has been a bit slow because Google, well, if you don't already know this, Google is not allowed to put their Play Store on Apple devices because the US says that Huawei is not a good company to work with because they are spying on the US. Very political stuff, so I don't want to get into that. But in any case, this is forcing Huawei to create their own versions of these kind of apps, like Maps apps, what is that called? Productivity apps, and Docs, Excel, that lot. The company has recently announced productivity tools of their own, which will compete with Google Docs and Microsoft Words and stuff, and the lot. We don't know if it's good yet. I haven't tried it out myself, so we will have to see reviews to see if it actually is good. For Huawei fans, expect released in the first week of November in the US part of the world, possibly Malaysia coming very soon after. I don't think there's much of a lag time between the rest of the world and Malaysia. Huawei sells very well in Malaysia, and Huawei knows that, and they want to push for Malaysia to be one of the first few release markets. iFixit's Apple iPhone 12 Teardown reveals that between the 12 and the 12 Pro, the insides are very similar. They have a repairability score of 6 out of 10, which is very good. The key struggle at this point, they say, is that there are more screws than previous models, which is good because it's better than glues. If you have screw, that means you can open it up and you can replace that part. Glues were harder to repair back then. The biggest downside of these devices are that they have front and back glass shells, which means that it will increase the chance of damage on drops. Even though Apple says that it is a lot harder, industry average is the best glass, most durable and all that, but glass is still glass. No matter how durable it is, it still breaks. Apple, like most makers, use glass on the back to support wireless charging because you can't use aluminum at the back. You can only use either glass or polycarbonate, and polycarbonate makes it look cheap, right? Like a mid-tier, low-tier kind of thing, so they have to use glass to get a premium feel. Meanwhile, Google's Pixel team has just found a way to incorporate aluminum glass with a bioresin, which is a polycarbonate kind of thin layer to cover the phone. It still gives the phone a very aluminum classy feel, and it also cut a hole at the back of the phone to cater for wireless charging. So it's for the wireless charging to pass through the middle, but while being covered by the thin layer of polycarbonate, which is thick enough that when people feel it, they can't feel the hole. So perhaps other makers like Samsung and Apple will use this method to build phones in the future, so they are actually sturdier than they are now with all the glass. Then again, fragile phones are good for extra maintenance charges, right? I mean, you break it, you have to bring it back to Apple to replace the parts, and Apple loves it when people want to replace parts. So they may not move back to aluminium. Apple plans iPods updates in 2021. If you're looking to get an AirPod or AirPods Pro around this time, you may want to hold out until next year. Apple is reportedly planning a refresh range next year, which will also include redesigns. Okay, this is a bit different from that AirPod 1 and AirPod 2 where it looks exactly the same, but you can't tell the difference, but the second generation with a little bit of updates. No, this is complete redesign. Some say the second generation AirPod Pro could ditch the stem altogether, making it like completely round or in-ear kind of, making it look exactly like every other truly wireless earbuds in the market today. And the AirPods could have shorter stems, perhaps possibly stems that look like the AirPod Pro. So imagine if you buy an AirPod Pro today and then the new AirPods come out, which by right should be the cheaper model, cheaper range, and it looks exactly like the AirPod Pro that you just got, and yeah, not really that nice, right? So you may want to hold on. This also means that that there will also be updates in terms of noise cancellation and all that kind of battery life and everything like that. So they will put the latest hardware in there as well, so battery life will expect to be better. There will also be headsets in the pipeline for those who prefer. Headsets are the ones where you wear over your ear with the little band around your head, which I personally don't like because I wear glasses and it kind of pinches my glasses. I don't like that, so I prefer earbuds. Google's use of recycled materials on schedule. Last year, Google said they will include recycled materials in all their made by Google products by 2024. As of this year, they are on schedule. The Pixel and Nest products are made in part with recycled materials. Not all of the products are made, but at least some of them. So there is it's a kind of like a step-by-step incremental improvement. The Pixel 5 back covers are made entirely with recycled aluminium, and the new Nest Audio has 70% recycled plastic. The company hopes these commitments will encourage their supply chain to invest into these materials so that the wider consumer electronics industry can also use them. Google, I don't think you make nearly enough hardware to be able to influence the supply chain, but you got good intentions. This week's Tech of the Week. Create games without coding with Lego and Unity. We're not talking about full-length AAA titles like Final Fantasy or Uncharted, but it's quite interesting idea nonetheless. Lego and Unity have partnered in letting just about anyone create mini games without needing a single line of code. You can actually build worlds using Lego pieces. So you can build like buildings and layouts and trees and the whole landscape using Lego pieces. Like stack them up and it becomes a building. Stack them up, it becomes a car or a tree or whatever it is, or a horse or whatever. Then the entire world is actually created by Unity, and you can place it in there and run it like a side-scrolling or a front-scrolling, like a temple run kind of thing, depending on how you want the game to be. Then you place Lego characters in there into play, and you have a working game. All you need is a storyline. The platform itself isn't groundbreaking by any chance. I mean, it's incremental, but we have reached a point where now someone can build a mini game, maybe a 1 hour, 2 hour game, without needing a single line of code. And this is very, in my terms, in my mind, very revolutionary move, because never have we been able to do this at that scale before. I mean, simple, yeah, super simple ones, fine. But the reason why this is Tech of the Week is because it's come a point where if companies can continue to build on the idea for a few more years, right? Games can be created with much less effort, and code developers would pretty much run out of jobs. I mean, yeah, like you will still get code developers for like groundbreaking games that will break the boundaries and create new thresholds and build new layers of polygonic or whatever, polygon characters and all that, make everything come to life as if it's real, do VR and all that. But when it comes to simple games or B title, C title games, chances are in the next few years you won't need coding ability to be able to do this. All you need to do is to have an engine like Unity to support this game building scenario or platform. Work with someone else, you can build the characters, and then voila, you get a game. All you need is a storyteller, a good storyteller. Many articles have also predicted the dusk of software developers, as software themselves can work behind the scenes while creators use the what you see is what you get format to create games, apps, and websites. I don't want to be a game developer at this point. Scary. But in any case, it's good for gamers. We can soon be able to consume games like we consume movies, video contents. Like, I mean, 20, 30, 40 years ago maybe, it's virtually impossible to create a full-length movie without equipment that nobody else can afford but the very well-funded companies, right? Now anybody can create movies. The device that I'm using to record this is good enough. All you need is a good storytelling skill. Alright, so that's all for this week's Laytechs Weekly. Laytechs Weekly is available on Anchor FM, Overcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and more. Our full videos are available on YouTube, and we post bits and clips on Instagram and Facebook. This is Laytechs Weekly, episode 28 October 2020. My name is Sean. Stay safe, wear a mask. Bye.